Not every country shines like a picture-perfect postcard. Some places possess a different kind of beauty, raw, sometimes harsh, but always deep and genuine. In this journey, Discover Wonders invites you to discover 10 nations where majestic landscapes coexist with imperfect cities, and where enduring cultural traditions have weathered the test of time. 10. Haiti, where culture burns bright amid the rubble. Haiti is a country that lives through rhythm, color, and endurance. Its cultural pulse beats loud and proud. Drums echo through alleyways, dancers swirl in bursts of movement during festivals, and street art splashes rebellion and hope across weather-worn walls. The country's deep African roots blend with French and Caribbean influences to create an identity that is both rich and defiant. Traditional religion, music, and community rituals remain sacred, passed down not through institutions, but through memory and soul. Yet just beneath this vibrant spirit, daily life in the capital, Port-au-Prince, tells a story of fragility. The 2010 earthquake devastated infrastructure, and the recovery has been painfully slow. Collapsed buildings stand as silent monuments to loss. Sanitation systems are overwhelmed, public services strained, and environmental issues, especially deforestation, exacerbate the vulnerability of the landscape. Mountainsides that were once forested are now exposed, leading to dangerous mudslides during storms. But despite these challenges, Haitians persevere. Their resilience is not passive. It's loud, creative, and unwavering. In Haiti, beauty isn't just found in scenery, but in survival. 9. Honduras. Natural paradise meets urban chaos. Honduras is a country of striking contrast, where untouched natural beauty coexists with chaotic modern sprawl. Along the Caribbean coast, the Bay Islands gleam like jewels in the sea. Turquoise water, white sand beaches, and coral gardens brimming with marine life. Roatan and Utila are havens for divers and eco-tourists. Inland, lush rainforests shelter jaguars, toucans, and waterfalls hidden deep in the mountains. And at Copan, the ancient stone faces of Mayan rulers still gaze over the ruins of a once mighty civilization. But this serene wilderness is sharply at odds with the experience in many urban centers. Tegucigalpa, the capital, grapples with overpopulation, limited infrastructure, and poor urban planning. The city streets are crowded and confusing, often lacking sidewalks or proper drainage. Power outages are frequent, and air pollution from traffic hangs heavy in the sky. Construction sprawls without order, and the divide between rich and poor is stark. In Honduras, travelers encounter two worlds, one breathtakingly preserved, the other crumbling under the weight of modern neglect. 8. El Salvador, a land of waves, volcanoes, and worn edges. El Salvador may be Central America's smallest country, but its landscapes speak in grand terms. Towering volcanoes rise above green plains, often shrouded in mist or capped with smoke. The Pacific coastline lures surfers from around the globe with its consistent swells and dramatic cliffs. Inland, the rhythm of life slows. Farmers tend fields in the shadow of volcanoes, and artisans sell hand-woven crafts in roadside stalls. Culinary traditions run deep, with pupusas sizzling on street corners and coffee plantations blanketing the highlands. Still, signs of past instability and ongoing challenges remain. San Salvador, while evolving, bears the strain of overdevelopment and limited maintenance. Many roads are potholed and congested. Tangled power lines and patched-together infrastructure give the city a raw, unpolished feel. In the countryside, widespread logging and land conversion have led to deforestation, leaving parts of the landscape exposed and vulnerable. El Salvador is a place of friction, between beauty and burden, tradition and transformation. But in that friction lies its character. 7. Understated, underrated, unforgettable. Paraguay is often overlooked in travel conversations, yet it quietly holds some of South America's most authentic cultural experiences. It's a land where the past is not just remembered, it's lived. The Guarani language is widely spoken and deeply respected, giving everyday life a rhythm that's distinct and rooted. In the countryside, families gather for tereré under the shade of mango trees, while folk music and dance carry stories from generation to generation. Markets brim with local produce, handcrafted silverwork, and bold ceramic art. Asunción, the capital, tells a more complicated tale. Though it holds historical charm in its colonial buildings and wide river views, the city suffers from aging infrastructure and frequent flooding during the rainy season. Public spaces can feel neglected, and new construction often clashes with the city's architectural past. Despite economic efforts, development remains uneven. But in Paraguay, the real treasures are found beyond the spotlight, in quiet villages, slow conversations, and traditions that refuse to fade. 6. Nicaragua, a country where nature outshines the concrete. Nicaragua is a landscape of extremes, raw, rugged, and poetic. Twin volcanoes rise dramatically from Lake Nicaragua, forming Ometepe Island, where howler monkeys echo through the treetops and ancient petroglyphs mark forgotten trails. The colonial cities of Granada and León are steeped in character, with faded pastel facades, horse-drawn carriages, and towering cathedrals. Along the Pacific coast, waves crash against untouched beaches, attracting a global tribe of surfers and nomads. In highland towns, coffee farmers cultivate beans on misty slopes that smell of earth and rain. Yet, Nicaragua's urban heart, Managua, remains an enigma. Designed without a true city center after the 1972 earthquake, it sprawls in disorganized patches. Streets twist and turn without logic, and landmarks are hard to find. Unfinished buildings dot the landscape, and basic services often fall short. While other cities may offer cultural hubs or artistic vibrancy, Managua feels like a work in progress, a symbol of a nation still rebuilding itself from the inside out. Here, nature doesn't just compete with the cities, it steals the spotlight. 5. Bolivia, a land of wonders and woes. Bolivia is a place where geography becomes poetry. From the mirror-like expanse of the Salar de Uyuni to the flamingo-dotted lagoons of the Altiplano, its landscapes defy imagination. Towering peaks, ancient salt flats, emerald valleys, and remote desert plains form a country shaped by elemental forces. Indigenous heritage remains strong and visible. Vivid textiles, traditional hats, and rituals tied to Pachamama. Mother Earth are part of daily life, especially in rural Andean communities. Yet, in its urban centers, especially La Paz and El Alto, life feels far less harmonious. Buildings rise without order along steep mountainsides, often appearing as though they were stacked by chance rather than design. Dust clings to the air. Traffic is a maze of minivans and honking horns, and the dizzying altitude can leave visitors winded after a single flight of stairs. Services often lag, and infrastructure can feel improvised. Bolivia's most striking beauty lies in its wild open spaces, where silence, sky, and tradition form a more powerful narrative than the cities ever could. 4. Cuba, Vintage allure beneath the surface. Cuba is cinematic by nature. The streets of Havana glide with classic American cars from the 1950s, and melodies of live salsa drift out from shaded courtyards and smoky bars. Colonial facades line cobblestone avenues, and the beaches, especially in Varadero and Cayo Coco, are dreamlike in their turquoise perfection. In the countryside, tobacco fields stretch to the horizon, and time seems to slow in villages where ox carts still carry daily loads. But the charm of the past exists alongside decay. Much of the infrastructure is worn from decades of neglect. Buildings, though architecturally stunning, often crumble from within. Sidewalks are cracked, utilities unreliable, and outside tourist-favored areas, daily life reveals a different story, one of resourcefulness amid scarcity. The Cuban spirit remains incredibly warm and welcoming, but the physical landscape tells a tale of deferred maintenance and quiet endurance. It's a place where history stands tall, but the present leans heavily on memory. 3. Guatemala, eternal spring with urban setbacks. Guatemala is rich in soul and scenery. Its nickname, the Land of Eternal Spring, feels fitting in every breath of its temperate air. Volcanoes tower over colonial towns, rainforests hide ancient Mayan temples like Tikal, and hand-woven textiles flood local markets in shades as bold as the country's cultural pride. Indigenous traditions, particularly in the highlands, remain vibrantly alive, from languages to religious ceremonies and culinary heritage. However, Guatemala City is where the enchantment fades. The capital sprawls unevenly, blending modern high-rises with expansive districts marked by poverty and neglect. Public transportation is chaotic, traffic is relentless, and many neighborhoods lack basic upkeep. Infrastructure improvements are scattered and often concentrated in wealthier zones. It's no surprise that most visitors spend little time here, opting instead for the charm of places like Antigua, the serenity of Lake Atitlan, or the lush expanses of the Petén region. Guatemala's heart beats strongest in its traditions and landscapes, not in its capital. 2. Venezuela, nature's majesty amid urban collapse. Venezuela is a land of staggering natural drama. Angel Falls, plunging from a tabletop mountain deep in Canaima National Park, is one of the world's most surreal spectacles. The Caribbean archipelago of Los Roques offers untouched beaches and vibrant reefs, while the Andes and the Llanos give rise to a dizzying variety of ecosystems, from jaguars and capybaras to giant anteaters and orchids. Nature in Venezuela is not a backdrop, it's the main character. But in the cities, especially Caracas, the story darkens. Once a symbol of oil wealth and progress, the capital is now marked by decay. Roads are riddled with potholes, basic services are inconsistent, and many neighborhoods feel abandoned, with infrastructure crumbling under years of economic and political turmoil. Power outages and water shortages are common, and safety remains a serious concern. Despite this, Venezuela's natural side remains breathtakingly intact, a reminder that even amid collapse, the earth can still astonish. Then, Suriname, jungle riches, urban growing pains. Suriname is a mosaic of culture and nature few places can match. Nearly 90% of its landmass is covered in pristine rainforest, home to an astonishing range of wildlife, from jaguars and sloths to colorful parrots and river dolphins. The Central Suriname Nature Reserve is a UNESCO World Heritage Site and a haven for scientists and adventurers alike. But what makes Suriname even more unique is its cultural blend. Descendants of African Maroons, indigenous peoples, Javanese, Indian, and Chinese communities all contribute to a remarkably diverse society. The food alone is a world tour on a single plate. Yet Suriname's urban hub, Paramaribo, struggles to keep pace. Though the city retains Dutch colonial charm in parts, many historic buildings are deteriorating. Streets are uneven, sidewalks broken, and traffic infrastructure underdeveloped. Public transportation is sparse and unreliable, making the city difficult to navigate without local knowledge. While Suriname shines in its biodiversity and cultural layers, its urban face feels unfinished, waiting for the investment and care that its heritage deserves. So there you have it, 10 Latin American countries that might not win beauty contests, but still hold unique stories, cultures, and adventures. What do you think? Have you visited any of these spots and seen a different side? Drop a comment below, hit like, and subscribe for more offbeat journeys. See you in the next episode.